Okay, so in this video, part two, I just want to refresh your memory. In the first video, where it was teaching Watson baseball cards in under 5 minutes, I showed how you can upload a small subset of images, and in this case, 18, 14, and 16, to show the different brands of images for the products. And this was kind of a quick demo. I just wanted to show very quickly how easy it was because I realized that it didn't take a lot of image for Watson to actually figure out the brand of the card. But once you started mixing different years and versions of the card, the results started getting a little skewed. And in most cases, the results were not really good at all. So I had to actually upload even more images. So you could see here, I now have Don Ross, Flair, and Topps. But for instance, like in Topps, I have 118 images. And you could see I've scanned in a lot of variations. I've scanned in borders. I've scanned in the different ways that Topps is written on the cards, a bunch of samples of the cards, both new here. These are new ones. I think these are like 2003, and then even some 70s and 80s cards. So I have a lot of variations of Topps at this point. And it was needed because it wasn't making a full connection. I also recognized that since I started adding categories or classes for teams, it starts to get a little confused. So in the real world, you might want separate models for teams, for brands, maybe years. So each thing that you're really interested in, you might want to separate out into its own model. So Watson can just isolate, hey, I'm just looking for teams right now, or hey, I'm just looking for brands, because throughout the years, the cards have evolved. And for instance, a Don Ross 1979 card looks very different than a Don Ross 2018 card. So you may want to actually, separate out the classes. So this is actually ready to be tested. So now we can actually, since it's ready, we can actually go in and test this out. So let's go ahead and select the cards. So we have a much larger sample this time. So the first thing you'll notice is because we have a lot more a lot more cards or in each of the classes, we're getting a lot higher results for hits. So in this particular case, this is an Astros player, and you can see it's almost 90% chance that is an Astros, and it is. Topps got 0.09, and that's probably because I don't have a lot of the newer Topps cards loaded into the Topps classifier. But if I had switched this out and only looked for brand, it probably would have been a lot higher. But it is still the highest brand card in the result set. And if I even go down a little bit, we could see Topps 91%. I mean, these are very, very high. You can see here, this is the Cubs, 91% chance. Very cool. But you'll notice Topps got 0. So once again, the newer 2003 Topps, I don't have a lot in the pool, so it's not coming up very high. Same thing with this one here. Now this is very interesting. It's a new card, and it's being brought in categorized as an Astros, probably because some of the cards that I have loaded into the Astros bucket are red, and then they had the 2003. So it's looking at the color scheme here, saying, "Hey, this kind of looks like an Astro." So it's not really categorizing it properly. But if I did have Boston Red Sox as one of my samples, it probably would have scored a Boston Red Sox a lot higher. So this shows you kind of how Watson is actually thinking. If it can't make any pattern recognitions, it goes to colors next. So this is also very interesting that we have Fleer, which is an 80% chance, but it's also saying that it's a Donruss, and Astros is third. So once again, we're going to want to load more into this to get it to really understand the differences, because Donruss should not be in this at all. So let's just keep going. So here we have Fleer, 88%. It is a Fleer. That's pretty good. And the rest are pretty low. That's a good hit. Cubs, 83%. Donruss, 32%. The rest are 0. That's a great match. I mean, it's dead on. This one here, it's a Tops and pretty much none of the rest, 90%. That's a really good hit. Then we've got another one, Greg Maddux, when he was on the Cubs, 90% chance. And then Donruss, a 1%. So once again, we would probably want a little bit more for this year loaded into the system, and we'll get a much higher hit. So that's pretty much it. And if we continue to go and look at this and refine the data sets that I've loaded, I think that we'll get even better hits as we go forward. So it's really up to how you set up your classes and your different classifiers, and how many images you load into that classifier for how accurate you really want Watson to be. So that's it, and thanks for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a like, and if you like this channel, please subscribe.